Have you ever had the feeling about the code or functionality you implemented a lot of time ago does not really work well or may stop working soon? Well, that's probably because you don't use unit tests or integration tests enough. And well, most of, if not all, the programmers find unit tests very good to have, a nice thing, but I believe that unit tests are more than that, are necessary as the functionality itself. Most of the time, they requires a lot of efforts that people does not have or don't want to invest in a unit test, especially when they have to use third-party frameworks in order to integrate unit tests. So you need to learn them, and that requires also a lot of time, especially considering that each framework or game engine, like Unreal Engine, Godot Engine, has its own unit test framework. However, there is another way of integrating unit tests, which is not using any framework and using everything that the programming language like C++ and the game engine is providing to you, which is function call and assertion. Let me show you what I did here, for example. First of all, what is necessary is to find where to put this test, and what I want to do is to execute the test at the beginning of the editor opening. And so I went to the module initialization and I added this function test all. The function test all calls a bunch of other functions that each test a different part of the framework. In this case, the first function tests the data buffer class, and the data buffer function tests all the APIs one by one in order to ensure that each works and works correctly. So the idea is that when you open Unreal Engine, the test runs, and if there is something that does not work, the engine crashes right away. Which means that we don't need a lot of things in order to integrate our unit tests. All we need is our functionality that we want to integrate, like in this case, data buffer, instantiate it using the data buffer, and at the end assert. Here I'm using assert condition, which is a macro defined by this program that I'm using here, but since we are also in a real engine, we may use checkf or verifyf instead, so that again, when the test fails, it crashes and we know where it crashed and we know that we have to fix it. Notice how simple it is. You don't need to learn any new framework. You can use all the functionalities that C++ is providing and the framework and the game engine you are using as well. And you can do things extremely complex. For example, I want to show another test which is very complex. The DOS simulation in this case is testing a bunch of things at the same time. This is not really a unit test, it's rather an integration test, because it tests many things working together. So we have a server with their own objects, also two clients that are connected to this server that also have the same objects, and we are testing that the reconciliation, the mechanism works, it does not or synchronize, and things like that. And since all these parts must be initialized, we don't want to initialize them in each test, even because we may introduce a problem. And for this reason, I integrated a class that does exactly that. Basically, instantiates the server, adds the peers. For each peers, it adds all the objects, the controllers, synchronize them, connects them, and do all the repetitive stuff that each test then uses. And for each test, all I do is to process the same scene differently or with the different settings and things like that. So again, the point is that this test is very complex, and I am just using C++. I'm not using anything else than C++ and assertion, as you can see here. And also, as a bonus, once you have this type of testing, you can pair these functionalities together with Git bisect, which is a Git program that allows you to find what is the commit that introduced a bug. And thanks to unit test, integration test plus Git bisect, you can have two informations that make your life very easy to find a bug, especially if you have a software that is more than 10,000 lines of code. And finally, when you have the extra time to dedicate on unit tests, you can always port what you have here into the framework that Unreal Engine provides or Godot Engine provides. And I can reassure you that porting unit tests is much faster than integrating it after months from the integration of the feature. So thank you very much, that's all. And if you have any question, leave a comment or join Discord where I will be super happy to discuss about anything related to the program, or if you have any issue with the synchronization physics, I am there to help. And also there are some other folks that are super knowledgeable and are willing to help as well. So that's all. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.